I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through. I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not, because I still believe you're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go. The only thing that I know, you were my gravity, but now I had to leave. I will let you go. Why do you think that I want? Why do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity. 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 I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Starting from scratch, I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here as we get set for pole day, qualifying in preparation for our 24th race of the season, the 8th season of the NNSCRA Duracell Next Gen Cup Series, as we are here at Hanford Speedway. Second time that this racetrack makes its appearance on the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series schedule. It's made its debut one season ago. Levi McIntyre brought home the victory in that one. This season, though, based off what we had last season, some tweaks, some edits have been made to the racetrack because of what the officials saw that they liked. They brought it back this season, and we've had it now as our doubleheader, as the Lights drivers are also in town. They had their pole day qualifying yesterday. They'll have their race here later on this afternoon at 3. But getting ready here for Go or Go Homers to try and race their way in. 5 non-charter drivers will be vying for the 2 available open spots in this week's starting lineup. Of course, 4 of them full-time drivers that have been attempting to qualify every week for the last couple of months. Autumn Brooks, Bryce Egan, Hiccup Bush, and Kyle Langland. And Jose Mills for the second straight week will attempt to qualify the Blue Oval Automotive All-Star car as Kyle Langland makes his way by our camera here on the front straightaway. We'll follow the 93 as he'll be the first one to set an up-to-speed lap. 5 minutes here available to these drivers, and they've already used up more than a minute and a half of it. We are actually approaching nearly 2 minutes into this session, so these drivers depend on when they get out there. I mean, the case for Kyle Langland, he'll maybe be able to get about 5-6 laps in. Other drivers may only be able to get in 2 or 3, depending on when they leave pit road. And this racetrack is what I call miniature Pocono. It's not 2.5 miles in length, however. It is smaller than that. And one thing that we saw yesterday in pole day qualifying for the light side was the draft does come into play, but you want to have a cleaner racetrack in front of you also. You maybe want to get that toe at the very tail end of your up-to-speed lap, and that's how we end up seeing Aubrey Powell get the pole position, where she will start this afternoon's Light Series race. I don't know, with only 5 drivers out on the racetrack, if there'll be an opportunity for draft to come into play or not, but Langland sets down the first lap here at a 42.763. We'll see if he improves it here as he makes his way down the front straightaway. You'll notice the start-finish line isn't until you get all the way over here to the entrance of Turn 1. Very unusual racetrack, as a 42.067. Going to be his second lap. Hiccup Bush, second on the board, a 42.582. Oh, look at this. So we do have an opportunity made for some draft to come into play here. Autumn Brooks and Bryce Egan here together. Autumn is third fastest at a 42.679, and Bryce at a 43.558. With these two getting a little bit of benefit of some draft, a little bit of tandem down these straightaways, does that help their speed overall for both of them to make it in? They were the 2 drivers that locked themselves in last week at Watkins Glen. Let's see. if we see either of these two jump up into second or maybe the top of the board. Autumn 42-103 to second. Bryce Egan third 42-282. So Autumn moves to second. Kyle Langland still top of the board. Jose Mills almost had a shot there at second place. He's third fastest, 42-144. So he's only 400ths off of Autumn Brooks' lap time. Let's keep an eye here on this 82 car. Ooh, a little wide there. Didn't get the wall though. Was able to hang on to it. Makes his way through three. He just dropped to fourth, as I believe Hiccup Bush just went to second, 41.951. Let's see if Jose Mills can jump into the 41s here. Yes, he can. 41.740, top of the board for the Louisiana Hot Sauce Dark Horse Mustang. Langland now drops to second with a 41.894. Let's see if he answers back. Can he get into the sevens? No improvement for him. Hiccup Bush right now fourth fastest. And no improvement for the 7 car. Autumn Brooks is fifth fastest. No improvement there. Same for Bryce Egan. We're starting to see the fall off here now. Let's see if there's any improvement for Jose Mills, or does he fall off as well? He does as well. Most drivers now have fallen into the high 42s. A lot of those that were running up there in the 41s, and zeros are on the clock, so it looks like it may be a couple of Dark Horse Mustangs that transfer in here. Jose Mills and Kyle Langland, the 2 fastest here in knockout qualifying. Egan, Bush, and Brooks look like they may fail to qualify here this week. Jose Mills will make his second start on the season, and Kyle Langland will make his 5th. We're just waiting here as the red flag is out. We're just waiting for them to officially conclude, and there it is. So here's a look at the lap times. Autumn Brooks didn't even break the 41-second bracket, and pretty spaced out there. 41.7 for Mills, 41.8 for Langland, and then another 300ths back to Bryce Egan, another 300ths back to Hiccup Bush. So Egan, Bush, Brooks, they will DNQ this week. Mills and Langland, they'll have a shot to run for the pole position here in just a moment. Bear in mind, for Jose Mills, his only other previous start here this season, he started from the pole position. So he looks to go 2 for 2 here in his starts this season. And for Kyle Langland, in the 4 starts he's made previously, 2 of them he's finished inside of the top 5. And he's done so with some really good starting track position. So we'll see if they'll be able to challenge for the pole position here in just a moment. Congratulations to Mills and Langland. They move on. We're not going to find out who is going to start from the pole, as our other 40 charter drivers will join them on track in the upcoming second round of qualifying, which comes up right after this quick break. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast on NNSCRA TV. If you enjoyed your watching, it would help us out a lot if you'd hit that like button. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the NNSCRA crew today. And if you're on your phone, be sure to click that bell to be notified whenever we have a broadcast here on NNSCRA TV. Once again, we thank you for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy today's broadcast. Welcome back to Hanford, as now we get set for our second round of pole day qualifying here on the Cup side. 42 drivers. It's going to be very congested out there. We saw it quite congested with only 30 drivers yesterday in the Lights Pole Day qualifying session. And I noticed a couple of drivers right there immediately pulling out onto the racetrack, realizing that it is going to be congested as we get about 3 to 5 minutes into this qualifying session. You're going to want to have clean racetrack, I think, in order to be able to set down those optimal laps. I mean, if you kind of look at both Kyle Langland and Jose Mills, who transferred in just moments ago, both of them did not have any traffic in front of them. They were able to basically drive into the corner as deep as they wanted, choose whatever line they wanted, think whatever drivers are out here first might have to be some of the ones we look at to maybe challenge for the pole here this weekend. Looks like that's Connor Breton coming by. Nathan Ormond, I believe, there as well. No, that's actually Keith Batson. Couldn't tell the Xbox green from the Sprite green, and we'll see. We'll see if they're able to put down the lap times that'll get them top of the board here. As we'll watch this 88 of Connor Breton has to make his way around the outside of Levi McIntyre, who just merged onto the track. Aubrey Powell, who is starting for the pole later on this afternoon, the lights race, laid down her lap with clean racetrack, was one of the first ones out there. So we'll see if Breton is able to put down a lightning fast lap time. Pretty clean racetrack in front of him right now, 42.925. We saw, even just with single cars here in the Go or Go Home qualifying session, drivers hitting high 41s. Jose Mills with a 41.7. Kyle Langland with a 41.8. I like this scenario right here for Connor Breton. I think that he's got enough of a gap back to Michael Norman, last week's winner from the Glen, and nobody really in front of him. This could be a flyer lap here. Let's see if he gets into the 41.7s. Be a huge improvement on his initial lap, and no, wow, okay, surprisingly, 42.279. That is a lot slower than I was expecting it to be. Let's see who is top of the board right now, and where are they at? And positioned on the track. And it's Carson Gum, who, of course, has a little bit of prior experience from yesterday, as he's going to be later on this afternoon driving the All-Star car for Garage 55 in the lights race, and 41.550. That is a flyer lap time for the driver at Fortnite Squad Racing, three-time winner on the season. Carson coming into this one fourth in points. He had a decent run last week at Watkins Glen. It wasn't anything flashy. They tried a little bit something different in terms of pit strategy, and it didn't exactly pan out, but he didn't finish nearly as bad as a couple of other drivers around him. He was able to leapfrog Alexander Rowe to move up a spot in the standings, but still 61 points out of the overall points lead. Of course, with 3 victories, he knows he's going to go playoff racing regardless. If he drops out of the top 10 in points here, even in these final 3 races of the season, he's going to be in a high-seeded wildcard spot, cannot mathematically fall out of the top 30 in the standings. And he's been knocked off the top of the board. The Mazda of Nick Gunther is now the one with the fastest lap, 41.446. As he's side by side there with one of our Go or Go Home qualifiers, Kyle Langland. Nick Gunther would be looking to have Mazda start from the pole in back-to-back weeks. His teammate Anthony McCurry got the pole last week at the Glen. For Nick Gunther as well, it's interesting, yesterday Aubrey Powell was one of 3 multi-time pole sitters going into this weekend's race and got her 3rd pole of the season that leads all drivers on the light side. Well, for Nick Gunther, he is one of, I believe, 6 multi-time pole sitters here this season. Himself, Eric Monaco, Caleb Fogler, Dylan Poteet, Anthony McCurry, and Jessica Shelton, all with 2 poles apiece. If Nick Gunther closes this out, it'd be his 3rd pole on the season. Much like Aubrey Powell was able to do yesterday, Nick Gunther would sit alone at the top of the statistics sheets in poles garnered here in Season 8. Nick Gunther also comes into this race 9th in points. He was 9th in points going into Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen was a no-show, it seemed, for Nick Gunther. He ran in the All-Star car for Garage 55 in the lights race, was a non-factor, tail end of the field for most of that race, and he was really persona non grata in the Cup race, too. The fortunate thing for him, though, is he didn't lose any points, so he's still sitting 9th. He's still in a playoff position, but multi-time winner here in the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series, up in the top 10 in all-times wins, and would love to find his first one here of Season 8. A couple couple other drivers that are currently at the top of the board. Let's see if we can find current second fastest driver. Be the 47 car of Jesse Turner. There he is. 41.448. 2 thousandths off of Nick Gunther's current fastest lap. And I'm not sure he's going to be able to get Gunther either. I think the tire fall-off has started to come into play for a lot of these drivers. But Jesse Turner coming into this race 24th in points. He's still got a shot at this thing. Still got a shot of getting into the playoffs. Right now, I believe he would, with the number of drivers ahead of him, I believe he would need to find victory lane potentially twice. He could be in the 6th seeded wild card spot leaving this weekend if indeed he does get the checkered flag. But there are a lot of drivers just in front of him as well with a victory, like Reggie Fogelman, Michael Norman. Eric Sadler dropped out of the top 10 in points last week, so now he falls into a wild card spot. And there's a couple of drivers that are hovering just above that 10th standings cut line. If they fall out, that moves the line up a bit as well, like Dustin Boland, Summer Henson, and Jack Mitchell. This is an interesting one here. Levi McIntyre. A couple of weeks ago, he was the points leader. At the conclusion of Homestead, he lost the points lead to Ryan Brommer, was 25 points back, and last week at Watkins Glen didn't fare well at all either, losing another 15 points. He is 40 points behind Brommer total coming into this weekend. He's the defending winner of this race, remember, from one season ago. The driver behind him was the dominant car that ended up losing that race due to damage, Matt McIntyre. And Levi is right now 40th on the speed charts. The driver he's trying to catch for the regular season championship, Ryan Brommer, right now he is scored in 9th. So things looking really good if you are Ryan Brommer. Matt McIntyre right now 33rd, and he's coming off a great run last week at the Glen, finishing up inside of the top 5. Gained 6 spots in the standings, did Matt as well, 15th in points, and of course we mentioned the fact he was the dominant car here one season ago. He got into the wall, I believe it was off of turn 2, had right side damage, and during the pit stops they took the time to repair that car, and he never was able to get back to the front. So looking for a little redemption here, one season removed from when this track made its debut on the schedule. A little more than a minute left here in qualifying. There is last week's winner, Michael Norman, picking up that victory at Watkins Glen. Because of that victory, he jumped 9 spots in the standings. It's incredible. It just shows what the points gap is between about 11th through 20th in overall points that you can win, and you can still almost gain double-digit spots. Michael now jumps into a wild card spot as well. I believe he is now in the 4th wild card spot, as he is 13th in overall points. I mean, there's no telling if Michael is able to find another good run here this week. He could find himself inside the top 10 in points, not even have to rely on that win for a wild card spot. Scoring currently has him 22 points out of that 10th in the standings cut line. Nearing zeros on the clock, another driver we will be talking heavily about, and there he is on pit road, is Quentin Moore. 23rd on the speed charts right now, but he is 10th in overall standings. He is in that final bubble spot cut line area. We're going to have to keep tabs on him. Last week, he was able to move his way back into the top 10 in points, displacing Eric Sadler down now to 11th. So, good run there for Quentin. Needs to follow it up. We're looking at RJ Bishop here. RJ dropped 6 spots in standings last week, and because of that, he now is down in the final wild card position, the 6th wild card spot. I believe he went into that race in the 4th wild card seed. We're about to have zeros on the clock, and nobody is going to be able to touch the lap time put down by Nick Gunther. A 41.446 betters the 448 laid down by Jesse Turner. They're going to be the front row, and Mazda in back-to-back weeks will be starting from the pole position. Gunther hoping this translates to his first win of the season. Locks himself up a spot in the playoffs as he's currently sitting in a points-paying playoff position. And we're just waiting for officials to give us the word that we are indeed ready to have the drivers off the racetrack. Nathan Ormond right now is slated to start in third. Matt Haas, two-time winner on the season, currently fourth fastest, and Carson Gum, who for a brief time here in this session was top of the board, he is going to be the completion of the top five. So looks like that experience of qualifying yesterday in the Light Series session helped him out with his lap time here today. Kyler Sustre, good lap time as well. Going to start this race in sixth. Jessica Shelton, second straight week that she'll start in the top 10. Started in the front row last week at the Glen. Summer Henson, a couple weeks removed from her first career win at Homestead. Going to start this race in eighth. Her teammate Ryan Brommer, the points leader, in ninth. And Jose Mills almost was able to go 2 for 2 and starting on the pole here this season in the races he participated in, but he will start in the 10th position, one of our two go or go home qualifiers that made the race this week. Look a little further down here. Who are some of the drivers that are not going to have good starting track position at the beginning of this one? Well, one of them, we talked about him, and it got worse. He was 40th when we checked on him, and he's going to start dead last. Levi McIntyre, second in points. Not where he wanted to start this race for sure. Connor Breton, 37th. We haven't talked much about Connor here the last couple of weeks, but and a big reason for that was it seemed a foregone conclusion with 2 victories on the season that he was going to be battling in the playoffs via wildcard spot. But he dropped 3 spots last week. He's 28th in points. He is only 10 points ahead of the cut line, 13 points ahead of 31st. And I'm noticing some drivers that he's battling around that actually have some decent qualifying efforts here today. Cole Deaver being one of those drivers. I would be worried if I'm Connor Breton right now, because remember, it doesn't matter if you have 1 win or 10 wins. If you're not in the top 30 in points at the conclusion of the regular season, you're not going to get a wild card spot. And so we'll have to keep an eye on Breton here tomorrow. I'll have to make a note of that. Keith Batson as well. Another driver we haven't really talked a whole lot about this season, despite the fact he's a former winner at Progressive Speedway. Why? He's continuing to free fall outside of the top 30 in points. He's 38th in points coming into this one right now. So he's nowhere in the conversation for a wild card spot either. Some drivers we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on here during the course of this home stretch that have gotten the checkered flags, but they haven't gotten the points to keep them up in the top 30, or at least keep them away from that 30th in standings cut line. But going to be interesting to see how it all plays out here tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully going to be a much better race than we had. Not to say that last year's race was bad, but certainly could have used some improvements, which is why the edits were made and why this track was eligible to come back here on the schedule for a second season. And of course, bring the lights into the conversation as well. But Nick Gunther not only captures the pole position, but now he is the driver with the most poles this season. His 3rd pole here of season 8. We'll see if it translates coast to coast into a win here tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed today's qualifying session here from Hanford. If you did, be sure to give us a like. Subscribe part of the crew today. We have shown you your starting lineup for tomorrow afternoon's race. Later on this afternoon at 3, the Lights drivers get ready to take to Hanford Speedway for their next to last race of the regular season, setting the table for the regular season finale at Auto Club. But until either later on this afternoon or tomorrow, whenever we see you next, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, all flying racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.